Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we are starting a brand new unit called Unit 11, Geometry. First of all, let's talk about what geometry is because you're probably thinking, I've never heard that word before, Miss Weaver. That's okay, we're going to talk about it right now. Geometry is simply the study of shapes and figures. So we're going to be looking at a lot of different shapes throughout this unit: triangles, pentagons, hexagons, nonagons, tons of different shapes. But today we're going to be focusing on what is called a figure. A figure is something that is not quite a shape, but it's still considered part of geometry. Okay, so today we're going to be learning about 5 things. We've got points, lines, line segments, rays, and angles. And I've got a bunch of fun ways to help us remember them. So let's go ahead and get into it. A point. This one's so hard. A point is an exact location in space. It's a little dot. I know that that's probably going to be really difficult for you to draw at home, but I think you can handle it. So a point is an exact location in space. It's like when you're playing Fortnite and you set your marker for wherever you're going to go to, that's a point. Or when you are typing in something in your GPS to go to like Starbucks or Target, my favorites, and you put the location and it shows an exact dot on the map where you're going. Right here, I have an example of Virginia, where we are located at in Virginia right here. This is our point. And if you are really wanting to relate it to math, it's like our points on our number lines that we've been looking at recently with fractions. So right here, this point is on the number line between 0 and 1. If I wanted to know what place that's at, I would simply count the bottom number to get my denominator. So 1 space, 2 space, 3 space, 4 space, 5 space, 6 space. 6 would be the denominator, and my numerator would be how many spaces it takes to get to the point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. So my fraction there would be 5, 6, and that is the exact point on the number line. So all a point is a dot showing an exact location, okay? It's showing exactly where it is. So that is a point. Everybody say point. Everybody say point. Also, when you point at something, if you look very closely, the tip of your finger kind of looks like a little circle. That's because it is a point. You're pointing at an exact location. So that the end of your finger, how it kind of looks like a circle, that's because that's a point when you're pointing at something. Okay, so that is our point. Next, we have a line. A line is a bunch of points put together. A line goes on forever in both directions. It has no beginning. It has no end. So time is kind of like this. Time has no beginning, no end. It just goes on forever and ever. When we're thinking about math, I want you to think about a number line. We already know what a number line is. A number line is when it has arrows on both ends and goes on forever in both directions. Did you know that numbers go on past 0 forever and ever? Those are called negative numbers. Those are just minus numbers, subtraction numbers. And then they go this way in the positive direction forever and ever as well. In fact, you can't even finish counting all the numbers because they just go on forever, for infinity and beyond. So the line, really important. It's a bunch of points put together. It is just, you draw a line, and it has 2 arrows at the end. That's the most important part to remember, okay? So a line has arrows at the end because the line goes on forever, like the number line goes on forever. You're going to see why it's important for you to have arrows next. Because now we're talking about a line segment. And a line segment looks just like a line, but instead of arrows, if you look very carefully down here, it has 2 points at the ends. These are called end points. So it is an exact section of the line. It's like you take a section of that line, like between 0 and 1, that's a line segment. Everybody say line segment. I couldn't hear you. Try it again. Line segment. Excellent. A line segment has a beginning and an end. It's kind of like if you're watching a movie. You have the beginning point, which is your first point, and then you have the end point, which is the second point. And in between, you have the movie. So like a line. This is different than a regular line because a line segment has a beginning and end. A line does not. A line just keeps going forever in both directions. That's why it has arrows. But a line segment has two endpoints, a beginning point and an end point. And a line segment looks like a Segway. A Segway is one of these cool machines that we have Mall Cop over here driving on. And if you look carefully, the bottom of his Segway looks like a line segment. We have a line right here, which he's standing on, and then we have two endpoints, which are our wheels. And if you really want to get creative, you can imagine yourself on a line segment rolling around on a Segway. So a line segment has an endpoint and a beginning point. It has what looks like tires because it ends. The line ends and it does not go on forever here. A line segment is very different than a line. A line has arrows. A line segment has endpoints. Okay? Next, let's talk we went crazy. Next, let's talk about a ray. All right, so I love, this one's my favorite. A ray is simply a line coming out of a point. So the arrow is going in one direction. So this is kind of like in between a line and a line segment, you've got your ray. And it's called a ray because it looks like a ray of sunshine. Because look at this. This little circle is the sun, and it's got one ray coming off of it in one direction. Now, Miss Weaver is going to show her age because there is a band called One Direction. And you guys have probably heard some of their songs. Baby, you light up my world like nobody else. Okay, so you might know them. If not, this is One Direction. They're a boy band. And here we have Harry Styles, also known as Ray Ray. His nickname is Ray Ray. It's not really, I made it up. But Ray Ray sings in the band One Direction because a ray goes in one direction. Yes. Ray, he goes in one direction. And if you look right here, this is the best part. This is like Ray. I want to picture Ray's right here. And he's singing, and it goes in one direction. So when you sing out, go, it goes in one direction. Your voice carries in one direction. You are like the end point, and your sound is the line going out into the world, okay? So a ray is a point. We got Ray, and he's singing, in one direction. That is Ray. So array, not an array. An array is in multiplication, but this is just ray. So the ray goes in one direction, and it has one point, and then it sings out in one direction forever. Okay? Then we have the last one, which is our angle. So an angle is two lines coming out of a point. So we've got a point, we've got a little dot, our point, and then we got two arrows coming out. So we've got two rays coming out of the angle. Now, the way to remember an angle is because it looks like an A. If you turn this angle around, upside down, right here, I've got my end point. Let me move myself. And then we've got two lines coming down. It makes an A. It makes an angle. Okay, so an angle is when you have two lines, kind of like this, kind of like a peace sign. And like if this is your end point right here, you've got two lines coming out of it. And when you turn it upside down, it looks like an A. You're just missing the middle part. But yeah, an A. A for angle, okay? And that is the letter that it starts with. And they come out of the same point right here. And it kind of looks like a corner, right? A triangle is called a triangle because angle is in there. And the word tri means three. So it has three angles. It has three corners. This little corner right here is called a vertex. Vertex. But for now, we're just going to call it our point. So we've got two lines coming out of our point looking like an A. So that is how we tell the difference between a point. A point is a dot that goes at the end of your finger because you're pointing right there. And it shows an exact location. A line goes on forever in both directions. It's a line that has two arrows on the end, like a number line. Then we have a line segment. A line segment has a beginning point and an end point. So it has a line, but instead of arrows, it has points on the end. That is a line segment. And you can write it like a Segway. Okay, it looks like a Segway that you go on. Then we have our ray. Ray sings in the band One Direction. That's because it's a point. We have Ray Ray right here, and he sings in one direction. So it's a point with a line coming out of it going in one direction, not two, one. So it's a point with a line coming out of it. And then we have our angle, and our angle is the only one that has two lines coming out of a point. So it's got a point and two lines coming out of it, and it looks like a capital A if you turn it around, okay? So if you have any questions, let me know. I'd be more than happy to help. Thanks for watching, guys.